The truth is ever to be found in simplicity and not in the multiplicity and confusion of things. Sir Isaac Newton. My friends, even Newton told us about seeking simplicity. And that is, of course, what we do each and every day with these simple charts. But they are highly, highly effective. And let's jump immediately to our trade execution summary grid. As I read all these numbers out to you, remember, you don't have to sit there with a pen and write them all down. You get them for free in your daily email. If you just go to chartingwealth.com and sign up for free, that list is never spam, never shared. Let's jump first into the S&P 500. By the way, stocks and gold are up. Bonds and Bitcoin are down. Now, stocks up 0.56%. We told you before the weekend on Friday afternoon, as we predicted Monday, that we were 75% bullish on the S&P 500, 75% backtest accuracy. And bingo, we were right. We were up again. And again, where does that lead us? Well, we've not broken the trend line. We've gotten close to it there. We're sitting right there on it. But we can see as we move into this new week, now our high so far is 592.78. Last week, our high was 593.20. The week before that, 595.54. And the week before that, 595.50. So again, we are slowing down. We are still, though, moving up slowly but surely. And we are, again, looking as we move along to continue to move up some. We do see an exit area around the 596 mark. Now, as we look at where things are today in our backtest accuracy, we're at 80%. And as I explore it and I look at the backtest, we see similar bullish breakouts going back to like March 2025, succeeding 4 to 5 times across time frames, yielding an 80% accuracy. So, excuse me, just because we have the charts that are telling us an 80% accuracy, of course, they can't make the market do what they want. So continue to, again, employ all of the reasonable things, watching for breakthroughs, going down on the half-day chart first, breaking that weekly trend line. Same on the 2-day. We have a green spinning top right now. First day of the latest 2-day candle. We can see we have red volume, which means we open lower than the prior close. That's a bit of a sign of weakness. We do have green volume on the weekly, meaning we opened higher than the prior close, which is good to see. So let's just pay attention. Not a lot going in the morning, pulling up in the afternoon. So we will keep an eye on things. What about the Qs? That is, of course, the NASDAQ 100. Now, last week, it has been going up each week instead of popping up this week on the 12th and then sort of meandering sideways and down. That's what we've seen on the S&P. The NASDAQ has been moving up. Last week, the high was 526.48. That prior week, 523. And the week before that, 521.93. So again, it's been moving up. So far this week, 523.45. So we are off a few dollars from where the high was last week. But we can see that we had things, if we go down to the half-day chart, had them moving down on Thursday, bottoming out on Friday, and popping up on Monday. Where does that lead us? Well, we have been at about 70% bullish for the last few days. We remain at 70% bullish. 65% backtest, 67% backtest accuracy. That's down 3 points from the prior that was at 70. And as we look at things, our backtest shows us bullish setups have succeeded 4 out of 6 times, yielding a 67% accuracy. So it is a little lower than the S&P, so we will continue to keep our eye on things as the charts try to keep moving up, but do appear to be slowing down, sliding sideways. And again, are they going to get some oomph to push them back up? Or are they going to be collapsing on us? You know, if we look at just the dividend-paying stocks in the S&P 500, check this out, SPYD. This is an interesting one. you can see how it has been weakening. It continues to weaken. Now, that's just a subset of the S&Ps. Those are the dividend-paying stocks. So keep that in mind as we see this weakening here. It's much more substantial on that smaller subset. Doesn't mean it's going to roll over, but I'm paying close attention, keeping the powder dry. Now, what do we see on 20-year U.S. government bonds? We were 80% bullish and have been bullish for a while. 85% backtest accuracy. That's what it was on Friday going into Monday. Monday going into Tuesday, 80% bullish, 83% backtest accuracy. And as we look at things, what do we see? Well, we had a green spinning tide, green doji last week on the weekly. We saw on the 2-day where it was trying to push up and through the trend line, and it has fallen right back through it today. Strong down in the morning and the afternoon. Things looking nice, going in the direction of a downward move. Now, where does that leave us as we look at the continued progress in a pullback? Well, it leaves us with our consensus that the strongly bearishness is across all time frames with no signs of reversal. So that, my friends, is good to see. Our back test shows us that the bearish setup succeeded 5 of 6 times, yielding an 83% accuracy. So we are still short. How do you short TLT? Well, if you've become a Patreon member and taken our 3-part series that comes free by joining any of the 3 levels, then you know how to practice trade puts. You could be buying puts on TLT, or you could also go to Tango, Bravo, Foxtrot. That is the single short. And what is it doing? It is moving up as, of course, 20-year U.S. government bonds are going down. We have shorts on the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, 20-year bonds, and also on Bitcoin. That one is BITI. I did a little successful trade on that back last year right in this area, and it was quite nice. It was a lot of fun to do and was successful for me. Now, I was using my own money. Again, we're not a stock calling, Bitcoin, gold, or bond calling service. We want you to practice trade with us, but of course, I do my own trades all the time. And that one worked out nicely. Now, that's where we are with bonds. Let's go to gold. Now, we left you on Friday with gold bullish, 75% of 75% backtest accuracy. We are still at 75% as we go from Monday into Tuesday with an 80% accuracy backtest on that. And as we look at gold, our consensus is strongly bullish with consistent upward momentum. Bullish setup succeeding 4 times out of 5, yielding an 80% backtest accuracy. You can see where we had decent volume in the morning, a little bit lower in the afternoon. That is on the half day. And again, things moving up what is not the best of strongest of trend lines, but punching up quite nicely. Look at the first day of this latest 2-day candle. We're about halfway up to the volume. That's looking nice. So we are continuing to be long gold. And again, I've had some concerns as we've sort of meandered around, but gold just keeps on trying to push its way up. And popping up 2.66% today is beautiful. Now, let's lastly take a look at Bitcoin. We talked about, would Bitcoin continue the stair step up or would it break through? And it dropped over, my friends, crushed this, what had been literally, look at that. We literally connected 6 up candles. Is that just not beautiful? Bitcoin, of course, reached its high back on the week beginning the 19th of May, the high of highs. Fell off some last week and even more. And you can expect some profit taking. We saw it starting to occur as we topped off there on the 22nd of May. Then we had a green spinning top on the 27th, 28th of May, and then started the red down candles there on the candle beginning, 2-day candle beginning 29th of May. And of course, pulling back not a whole lot today, just a little bit, 0.14%, but Bitcoin has pushed through the weekly trend line on pushing through on the 2-day, has pushed through on the half-day and popped over on the weekly. Doesn't mean that if it started getting strong this week, it couldn't put in a weekly candle and resume, but it has lost that trend. So we shall keep an eye on things. When you break the trend like that, you don't tend to just pop back up. But with Bitcoin, anything is possible, my friends. But that is where we are. Now, where does that lead us? Well, our calculations are that we're still 70% bullish on Bitcoin with a 60% backtest accuracy. That's not a lot of backtesting accuracy there. And the reason the trend is, of course, still bullish is because of all this prior pressure in the upward direction. But it has been bled off significantly. That's why we've dropped down to such a low backtest accuracy. Our consensus is bullish despite a recent pullback on the weekly and 2-day charts. 195-minute shows some short-term strength. I don't see that. I guess you could say it didn't really rocket down today. As we look at our backtest accuracy, the bullish setups have succeeded 3 out of 5 times, yielding only a 60% backtest accuracy. So let's keep our powder dry. Watch and see if this is going to be a weekly vertical crossover going down. And if so, of course, we can short Bitcoin as it maybe rockets down. We shall wait. We shall watch. We shall see. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth.